Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this morning's Parsha Insights. I'd like to dedicate this morning's talk to two very, very special people. My dear grandfather, Rabbi Avraham ben Rabbi Yaakov, whose yahrzeit is tonight and tomorrow, and also a very special, powerful individual, Hillel Ederi, a cousin of ours, who unfortunately passed away a couple of years ago, and we had the zechus of naming our son Hillel after him. He was such a powerful, strong individual. He was able to conquer life and achieve so much with his emunah, with his faith, and with his belief in himself. I'd like to dedicate this talk and this share to be an aliyah for his neshamot. So these people, my grandfather, Hillel, they achieved greatness in their lives. But my question right now is, what is stopping us? What is stopping me? What is stopping so many people from achieving their own unique, powerful greatness that we all have? What is stopping us? So this week's Parsha Shelach, features the famous episode of the spies. The Jews had received the Torah, they were traveling in the desert, they built the Mishkan, they were at an all-time high, and they were about to enter into the land of Israel, the Holy Land. And the Parsha starts off with Hashem telling Moshe, send in those spies into the land. And Moshe told the spies, check if the land is good, if it's bad, how the people, are they big, are they strong, are the cities fortified? Is the soil, can we think we'll be able to plant? What? Just look at the land, take a serious detail on what's happening there, and then come back and report. So they went and they scouted the land for 40 days. And they returned with this huge cluster of grapes. They returned with this giant pomegranate and a fig. And they come straight to Moshe and Aaron with their report. And they come to the Jewish people. And Moshe and Aaron, and they say to them this. I could just imagine that the picture, the Jewish people are waiting there. What are we going to do? What is it going to look like? Are we going to be able to conquer the people who live in the land? And the spies turn to Moshe and Aaron and the people, and he says to them, the spies, all 12 of them, turn to the people and say, we've just come from the land, and it's flowing with milk and honey. It's beautiful, and this is its fruit. And they show these big, monstrous fruits. And then they turn and they say, however, the people, they are great, they are massive, they are scary, they are powerful. The cities are fortified, they're large. And there's giants, and the nation of Amalek is surrounding the country. We're never going to manage to overcome, we're never going to manage to conquer the land of Israel. They instilled this fear, this scare within the Jewish people, and the people cried out to Hashem. And until today, we are kind of suffering from the sin of the spies of talking negatively about the land of Israel. And that was the famous sin. Until today, we're crying out. Now, the Shelach Kadosh, Rabbi Yeshaya ben Avraham Horowitz, he brings an incredible question from the Ramban, Nachmanides. He said, what did the spies do so bad? What was so bad about the spies? Moshe said to them, go out and check out the land and see if they were able to conquer. They go, they check it out, they come back and they report exactly what they saw. Which I think is a powerful question because it doesn't seem like on the face of it, they did anything so bad. And further along in Devarim, before the Jews are about to enter the land of Israel, Moshe turns to the Jewish people and says to them, be careful, you're about to cross over the Jordan and repossess and take over the land of Israel. The people there are big, they're huge, the cities are fortified, they have walls up to the sky. Moshe Rabbeinu, the leader of the Jewish people, is pretty much saying the same thing that the Meraglim told the Jewish people. Yet the Meraglim were punished so severely, and Moshe Rabbeinu seemed to be doing the same thing. What was different? So the Ramban Nachmanides, where Moshe ben Nachman gives a beautiful answer. And it's so powerful. So meaningful. He says, the way the Meraglim, the spies, replied was with what the one word they added in, Ephes. As if any of you know Hebrew, Ephes means nada, nothing, zilch, zero. When the Meraglim were talking about the land, and they continued, when they were saying how bad it was, they said Ephes means worthless. They did not think they were capable. They did not believe within themselves to be able to conquer the land of Israel. They had no self-belief, no self-worth in what they were able to achieve. And we see this when they were going through the land. It says, what does the pasuk say? Vanehi be'einenu kechagovim v'chein hinu be'eineihem. We look like grasshoppers in their eyes. We look like grasshoppers to ourselves, and so too must we have looked to them like grasshoppers. And this is showing us the way they felt within them, quite worthless and not thinking much of themselves. No belief in their ability for greatness. Now, there's a story some years ago of a general. There was this war that was taking place, a battle. And the army was feeling pretty low at the time, and they looked like they were losing. The officers and generals were all together in the head office, and they were discussing, what can we do to win this war? And the general turns around and said, you know what? Let God decide how we're going to win this war and who's going to win this war. He takes a coin out of his pocket, and he says, here, let fate decide. And he flicks the coin in the air, and he says, if it lands on heads, we will win. If it lands on tails, we will fail. Flips the coin in the air. It lands. They're all waiting in trepidation. He takes the coin, and it's on heads. And he says, guys, we're going to win. The word goes around the entire army. He says, we're destined to win. We are going to win this war. And the morale was boosted within the entire army. And they went and they fought the most vicious and victorious war. And after this glorious victory, after they had won, they were all celebrating in the general's tent. And they looked on at the general singing his praises of what he was able to do. The general then looked at them and smiled. And he said to them, listen, let me show you something really powerful. He takes out the coin from his pocket and he shows them. There's two heads. And there's a head on either side of the coin. And he says, I don't believe in fate. I believe in the value of self-belief. When the soldiers knew that we couldn't lose, I knew we wouldn't lose, no matter what. Sometimes we think the script has been written. The script for our life has been written and greatness is chosen just for a few. You know, there's a few people that are going to become great. You know, you see them, they're famous and they're out there. And from the past history of our lives and history of the world, there's certain people that stick out as famous, great people. And we think the world is just scripted for them to be great. But no, we within ourselves can find that inner greatness and achieve so much by believing within ourselves. Rav Tzadok HaKohen of Lublin, he says something so powerful about the pasuk in Habakkuk. It said, Tzadik be'emunasa yichyeh. It's Tzadik with his belief in Hashem. It's normally translated, he will live. But Reb Tzadok HaKohen translated so incredible and so meaningful. He says, Tzadik be'emunasoi, with belief within himself, with believing in himself. That's how he becomes a tzaddik, a righteous person. Yichyeh, he will have a life. He won't just live, he will be alive. He will be able to achieve. And I think that's just so powerful, taking from that word, from that pasuk. The spies, their mistake was their lack of belief within themselves and the Jewish people to be able to conquer and to be able to achieve their greatness in the land of Israel. Now, in the early 1800s, there were two brothers. One of them had a bad sports injury, all his front teeth were knocked out, and the other one just dropped out of school and looked like their destiny wasn't looking good. They both got together and started a printing business, working very hard, and they weren't doing so well, and they were trying to, let's do something else, and they opened up a bike shop. And they spent their days and their time repairing bikes and selling bikes, until eventually they realized, no, we can't just stay here selling bikes and repairing bikes. We got to achieve something so much bigger. We got to search and find something so much greater that we are able to achieve. And they went out there, and with a lot of hard work, they invented one of the most incredible, innovative inventions ever. And that was the aeroplane. The Wright brothers in Dayton, Ohio, they were able to achieve and believe within themselves to achieve such greatness and such a legacy to create and invent the aeroplane. Imagine that they felt that, we're not good enough. We're just happy. I'm good at bikes. I'm good at repairing bikes. Let's just leave it at that. Or imagine had they listened to people telling them, men don't fly. People, we are not airborne. We don't fly. Just give up. It's not going to work. I remember I was talking yesterday to Jonathan, we were talking about Rav Noach Weinberg, and when he started his yeshiva, his Eisha Torah, people were telling you, you're crazy, no one does this, what are you trying to do over here? And imagine had he listened to all those people, those naysayers telling him you can't do this. He believed within himself that he's able to achieve this with the help of Hashem and the help of the people around him, but he had a strong belief and desire and he was able to achieve. We need to have the courage to harness the power of this self-belief. Combine it with action and it will just take us such great levels. But one of the powerful people in this week's parasha, moving on, is Kalev. One of the spies, when he was talking at the end, after kind of the episode, towards the middle of the episode of the spies, Kalev goes along and he stands up there and everyone's quiet. They thought, Kalev, he's the brother-in-law of Moshe Rabbeinu. He's going to really bash the land. We got a man on the inside of it. He's going to give it what for. He's going to tell Moshe, terrible land. And they had no idea what he was about to say. He stands up. It says, "Vayahas Kalev es ha'am," he quietened the people. And he says to them, it was such a motivational speech what he said. And it's so short, but so powerful. He says, "Aloi na'aleh," we can go up. We can go. We can do this. We can achieve. Vayirash noisoi, we can conquer. Ki yochal nuchalo, we can overcome this. The Rashi there brings the Gemara in Sota 35a, and it says there that when Kalev was saying this, he was saying, even if Moshe Rabbeinu would tell us to get a ladder, a really tall ladder, and climb up to heaven, we would be able to achieve this. We would be able to do this. No matter what, if we have this strong belief within ourselves, we're able to achieve. The people were shocked to hear this from one of the spies. After hearing such bad reports, and they heard this, they kind of rejuvenated and excited, but hearing Kalev was so powerful for them. And to seeing within us, the power that we have, we said there's a famous thing about, we are within us, a chelek elokam mima'al, we have like a part of Hashem. Our soul is such an uplifted spirit and such a powerful energy. And just to stop and realize how powerful it is that what we have within us, what abilities we have, what strength we have. See, last week when we spoke about the raising people up, going out there, making a difference in someone else's life, giving them a smile, saying a good morning. This focus right now, what I'm trying to talk about is being able to, within ourselves, lift ourselves up, to believe within ourselves, to raise ourselves up, and realize the uniqueness of each person. There's a story of Reb Zusha, the famous Reb Zusha, who was a student of the Maggid HaMezrish and the Baal Shem Tov, one of the original Hasidic masters. There's a famous thing that he says. He says, when I get up to heaven, they're not going to ask me, why wasn't I like Moshe Rabbeinu? Why wasn't I like the Ramban, the Nachmanides, Maimonides? And then me too. They're not going to say to me, why wasn't I like that rabbi? Why wasn't I like that person? They're going to ask, why weren't you able to achieve like Shlomi was able to achieve? Were you able to achieve who Shlomi was destined to be? And that's a question we kind of need to ask ourselves. Reb Klonimus Kalman, the Piaseczner Rebbe, who unfortunately passed away in Treblinka, he spent 3 years in the Warsaw Ghetto. He says something beautiful. He says, "A makir es makoma." It says in Pirkei Avot, someone who recognizes their place. Meaning, it's one of the 48 ways of wisdom in the ethics of the fathers in Pirkei Avot. And he says, we need to leave our mark on the world, leave our legacy. Try to do and it's so small, like a ladder. Why is it a ladder? It's like small steps. You don't think of these, I'm going to jump high. Kalev didn't tell the people, jump to the heavens. He said, take a ladder. Take a step on step on step. And then we'll be able to leave our legacy and achieve our own unique greatness and leave our stamp on this world. And I just want to end off with something from Rabbi Nachman, which I heard in the name of Rabbi Nachman, which I think is so powerful and so beautiful and sums it all up. And he says, the day you were born is the day Hashem realized the world cannot exist without you. The world cannot exist without each of us. We all have such powerful, unique, special capabilities. And I just want to wish you all a beautiful Shabbos. And just remember, we are all absolutely incredible people and have such amazing strength. Thank you so much for listening. Have a good